and this is it's kind of a recruiting piece, but it's also a future of USC football piece. Taylor Mays was part of the recruiting hospitality. He was like part of the Trojan legends, Trojan royalty, talking to recruits. But like, he's still on the staff as a consultant, as an analyst. But yet he was very much integrated into the recruiting weekend. So, I mean, not to try and draw too big a conclusion, but just like the fact that a member of the staff was also part of the front-facing public recruiting events, it's certainly a good thing. Right? It's certainly not a negative or neutral thing. I mean, so that tells me that there is at least a chance that Taylor Mays might be invested in USC for the long haul. Now, I'm not predicting that, but just the fact that he was a major part of this recruiting weekend, that tells me that like he really wants to be part of ushering this program back to the mountaintop, that he wants to be very much part of this effort. And so, like Belk, Entz, Lynn, Henne, obviously if they do their jobs really, really well, they're going to be really hot commodities in coaching carousels at various levels in future years. I'm not trying to depress anybody, but like, they're not going to be here forever. Maybe 4 years, 5 years, whatever. Taylor Mays being part of this recruiting weekend, this is the central point I wish to make, and it's a happy one. And that is that, like if he really wants to stay with this staff and not go to like a group of 5 school as a defensive coordinator, or to another Power 5 school as a secondary or defensive backs coach. If he's willing to just stay at USC for the next several years and provide continuity to this defensive coaching staff, and then be in position to move up the ladder within the USC staff when someone else grabs a head coaching job or maybe an NFL coordinator job, whatever, like that is a huge, huge potential positive for USC, and I wanted to make sure to note that on tonight's show.
And a big reason why I think that this secondary we're going to enjoy watching them. As you said about Belk, we know Lynn is a secondary guy, and Taylor Mays had his fingerprints all over that Holiday Bowl. That was just an amazing job by the secondary, just almost a night and day turnaround in that secondary. So be ready for it, you guys. I've said it a couple of times now. If we get a decent pass rush, you guys are going to be really delighted to see that with the players we have in our secondary. It's going to be this is the most dominant cornerback group that I've seen in a while. And then I don't even get started on safety. So you guys get ready. I know I'm going to hype it up too much, but I don't think I can. I mean, I'm willing to put my name out there on this. Our secondary is going to be something special this year.
And when we get to the secondary, folks, we will see where Tim, Matt, and myself rank the USC secondary against the rest of the Big Ten, because we are going to go through Big Ten rankings, position rankings, and where USC places amongst the best in the Big Ten at every position throughout the summer. That is just one of the content features that we will have available for all of you throughout the summer. So don't miss. We know that you're going to have fun this summer. We want you to have fun. And if you've got to miss the live show, of course, make sure that you watch us at some point during the week. But we would especially want you to be here and take that hour, find that hour to join us live, because then you can interact with us. And of course, again, we're going to go through Big Ten position rankings, and then we're going to go through every opponent on the USC schedule and bring in a media guest for those conversations and give you a look into Big Ten history as it pertains to USC and USC's history with many of the schools that they will be getting more familiar with this fall, and so much more content as we really get into the nuts and bolts, also with the personnel, of course, for USC and their opponents.
Another great supporter. Thank you so much, Slap Happy, for being here. Appreciate you're late, though. I'll let the other guys over at the Light Torch podcast know that you were late, but appreciate you being here, of course. And then Donnell Smith, another great comment. BMW is back as well, so that's another great. Mike Williams is back at SC, and it's good to see two guys that know how to win. You know, you got two guys that have been there, know how to win. And we talk about Matt Entz, his national championships. That's a guy that knows how to win. You know, Lynn knows how to win. We already know Riley knows how to win. There's staff here in place now that they're building a winning culture. They're building, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You guys, I think the worst thing the world could have done was stick Lincoln Riley's nose. I mean, one too many people said to him, "Yeah, but Lincoln Riley doesn't care about defense. He doesn't, you know, he can't. Lincoln Riley will never have a good defense." I think it's getting better and it's going to get better. You saw it in his face; he was pissed off, and he made it very clear that he's going to fix the defense and everything going forward. It's about having an elite defense. And if you look at what they've done in the offseason, I don't know, Mark. I mean, and Matt, I'm telling you. Do you guys know what I'm talking about, right? They always say, oh, if Lincoln Riley only had a decent defense, I think he's going to have a decent defense. Does he have the depth this year? Maybe not, but he's going to have that decent defense if he can keep a majority of the staff together.
And if this month of June hits the home runs that USC hopes it will.
Yeah. And you know what? Speaking of which, this is a kind of Ohio. This goes back to a little bit of Ohio State. With Richard McNutt, but his son, who's one of the 5-stars safety, he's a legacy to Ohio State, but Ohio State's got their fair share of 5-star safeties and guys. So, you know, part of it also is playing time and opportunities. He was one of the guys who was out here visiting, but the guy that really there's higher ranked guys that got a lot of attention, but the one, Matt, I was talking to you about offline is Aaron Dunn from Utah, big 6'7" offensive lineman, roughly about a top 100 guy. These are the pieces again that catch my eye. You know, you give me defensive linemen from Georgia, and then you go ahead and you turn that around, you start building in those 6'7" guys that, you know, USC has gotten, but, you know, it's either A, there's been injury that shortened their careers, or they just haven't developed. I know, Matt, you've had your questions about Henson, but lands a couple of these guys, I think we're going to be on our way to fixing that offensive line. So it's a long way from December, but he had some very glowing comments coming out of his official. So we'll see how that goes.
Hey, like, I want Josh Henson to succeed, you know, but the jury's still out. Pretty simple.